Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy as I'm continuing my cast here from the RAGNAROK TvZ 2023 tournament held in Poland. We have a very interesting international engagement here in between the two pros, so let me just start by introducing them to you. As we have spawning here in the lower right, in the blue, it is RAGNAROK from South Korea, and his opponent here in the upper left in the red, it is CLEM from France. So quite an interesting game here, actually a series of games. We have a best of 3 actually, I believe it is, yes indeed. So we have a really nice series here in between them as they're spawning here on Gray's Van. So quite an interesting name for a map. Let's just check their build order really quick. Things look pretty normal for CLEM as it's going into a supply depot with a barracks, and also a nice build order here for RAGNAROK as he's opening up here with a fast expansion. Pretty sure he's going to go into that supply depot, spawning pool, and then the extractor. Of course, the first overlord is already out on the map looking for any proxy barracks by CLEM, but CLEM is not really known for those proxy barracks. Actually, it's more BYUN or MARU who does that, but mostly Terrans have pretty much stopped doing this and played very normally. We also have gas up here for CLEM. It'll be quite interesting to see if he's going for a factory next or a starport, or if he's actually going for a fast expansion. We've seen actually Terrans go pretty much for fast expansion first actually, so quite a greedy gameplay by the Terrans, very risky against the Zerg. But then again, most Zergs also like to go for their fast expansion, so around the 2-minute and 23-second mark we're going to be very likely seeing RAGNAROK expanding into this location. We have the extractor up there, is the spawning pool, and yeah, CLEM also feeling confident to build his expansion, but at the same time he's of course sending out that SCV just to check if there is an expansion here for the Zerg. So as soon as he sees of course the expansion, he knows that his expansion as well will be saved. He might leave this SCV here into this area just to check if there's going to be a second expansion. By the looks of it, pretty soon a drone, yes indeed, RAGNAROK already sending out a drone. So the 2-minute and 22-minute and 30-second mark is actually that second expansion here for the Zerg. In comes the Reaper. Let's have a look. He's going to see of course the expansion. He might try to snipe a Zergling or two, but yeah, RAGNAROK with a quite nice micro here. So yeah, pretty standard stuff for both players. Queen is out, the Reaper has of course to retreat and yeah, heal himself up. Let's check CLEM once again into his main. There is that factory and there is the command center, so he's actually playing a very macro-orientated game. He really wants to be strong in the late game with another expansion. So this expansion is very likely going to land here into this location. We already have the SCVs out, 24 SCVs for CLEM and 25 workers for RAGNAROK. As more and more queens are getting spawned and more drones are getting spawned, so pretty much both players are preparing their macro game. They're preparing a late game orientated gameplay here. So yeah, the nice Reaper exploring of course the map, giving important information for CLEM. And yeah, let's see how things will unfold, what the next build orders are going to be. We see the starport, the second expansion also about to get finished. We see CLEM producing Hellions, very likely going to try to hurt the economy from his opponent. Actually, we can see the production tab here in the upper left button. We actually see some roaches, so we have a hidden roach warren somewhere. There it is. So this looks like a timing push all of a sudden here for RAGNAROK as he's pumping more and more roaches out, and roaches are actually really good against those Hellions. So CLEM might be in some trouble really soon, but we do have a Banshee now. The question is going to be this one Banshee enough against so many roaches? We're about to find out. Yes indeed, the roaches are already moving out. CLEM sees this Hellions really important for him. Seeing this, sadly for him, he didn't micro them really well. One Hellion might fall. But yeah, around the 4-minute and 20-second mark we see RAGNAROK actually moving out. What exactly does CLEM? Has just one Marine, actually some Hellions, and we did see that Banshee being produced, but is one Banshee going to be enough? Of course CLEM is going to try to buy some time. There is this one Banshee against so many roaches. Is RAGNAROK going to commit, or is he going to retreat? He actually decides to retreat, snipes one Hellion, loses this other roach, and yeah, by the looks of it, CLEM is indeed going to hold Luckily for him, he did went for a Banshee, so that was his saving grace. Of course, the Roaches really strong against those Hellions, so if it would have been mass Hellions for CLEM, he would have been in serious trouble. But yeah, luckily for him, he's of course a very experienced player, and that the Banshee saved him, and he's actually going for many more Banshees. There is that cloak, and what exactly is he going into his main here? Yet another factory, so we see a macro orientated game, actually sorry, a mech gameplay here by CLEM. Quite interesting, not going for mass bio, going straight into mass factory, so we are going to be very likely seeing some tanks really soon. Force would also be nice to see, some Cyclones would be interesting. Let's see if this is going to work out, and by the looks of it, Ragnarok goes into some Zerglings, into some Banelings, so he's also might trying to hurt the economy here from CLEM really soon. CLEM nicely multitasking here, but we do have queens all over the place. We don't see an overseer yet. Finally, there it is. So CLEM might be lucky to snap some drones, but there is a spore of vision is there, and sadly here for CLEM, he has lost one Banshee. Did snapped 2 drones at least. And yeah, there are those Hellions. They could be much more luckier here. 3 drones, and yeah, Ragnarok luckily here for him not losing so many units as he income those defensive forces, Roaches and Queens. So yeah, Ragnarok nicely holding, snapping some Hellions, snapping that one Banshee, and even creates now a wall of fear with his evolution chambers. So yeah, CLEM nicely splitting his troops. He's always trying to multitask, he's trying to attack at 2 fronts at once, just splitting the troops from Ragnarok. This could also be a nice interesting idea to attack, but CLEM once again decides to attack here the drones, and at the same time lots and lots of damage here into this location with those battalions. But yeah, at the same time, of course, Ragnarok reacting with a split of his own. He's sending the Roaches up, he's leaving the Queens here. Let's check once again CLEM's, and yeah, we have yet another command center. So yeah, really nicely gameplay here by CLEM. And let's have a look at his main here. Lots and lots of upgrades go out here for him. You can of course see them here in the upper part. Sadly, I don't know the names of these upgrades. Perhaps if you're a little bit more experienced in Starcraft 2, you will of course know what exactly this is. Perhaps some upgrades for those Cyclones, maybe for the tanks as the siege continues here with Cyclones indeed. And yeah, Queens with Roaches to defend, and yet another expansion here for Ragnarok, and multitasking this time with 3 Banshees. Yeah, CLEM really does a nice job here, sniping worker after worker, and just forcing here Ragnarok to actually stay at home. At the same time, he's really smart. He's just expanding once again, scanning the area for those queen eggs on the ground, and yeah, just staying here next to the proximity from Ragnarok. At the same time, he's also nicely kiting those Cyclones back and forward. To be careful now, as there are so many Roaches, but we do have blue flamed Hellions, we do have those Cyclones, and at the same time, finally, Ragnarok is reacting here with some Zerglings, attacking here the economy from CLEM. So yeah, double attack with some Nicholas gear as well, so even taking me by surprise. So finally, Ragnarok finding the strength to move out onto the map, snapping 10 workers here from CLEM. Really nicely executed. Of course, now CLEM is the one who has to retreat back home, but those Cyclones are very good against the Mutalisk in the air. Yet another factory. So how many factories? 4 here into this location. Actually, it is 8 factories here for CLEM. So CLEM going full mode into that mech oriented game. Quite interesting. 8 factories. Very rare sight here for a Terran player. Let's see if this is going to work out against the Zerg, who's also deciding to expand here all over the map. Perhaps he's going to go for mass Zerglings with some Banelings. Could be an interesting idea for him here to counter this mass mech. Still, his Mutalisk are here into this proximity, attacking, seeing all of those factories, so he knows exactly what is coming towards his way. At the same time, he is attacking here. You might even see some lurkers here from Ragnarok. We might even see some swarm hosts to fend off that mass mech gameplay here for CLEM, as he's also going to snipe more and more eggs. There come the Roaches, the Zerglings are in the front, so Ragnarok should be able to hold. But yeah, CLEM does a really smart move here. He's just kiting those Cyclones back and forward, just attacking here now, even sniping unit after unit, queen after queen, some Roaches. Yeah, he's perhaps going to snipe this hatchery here as well, so really Strong gameplay here by CLEM, forcing once again RAGNAROK to stay home. And yeah, those Cyclones defended by those Hellions in the front, so the Hellions will of course take care of the Zerglings, while the Cyclones will snipe unit after unit, so really strong stuff. The Banshees at the same time are going to attack here into this location, so once again, CLEM pretty much all over the place. RAGNAROK does a pretty good job defending here. But yeah, CLEM all of a sudden 85 workers for him versus the 81, and RAGNAROK actually being able to hold his ground here. But yeah, look at that advantage here from those Cyclones, that range. Just forcing here RAGNAROK to stay home, and now even the Banshees have joined the attack here. So he might just be able to snipe more units after unit, and there's the reaction here from RAGNAROK. It's going for Hydras, so Hydras is going to be the answer here for him. Perhaps Lurkers, and yeah, once again CLEM attacking here with his fleet of Banshees, snapping this one hatchery. So really punishing the economy from RAGNAROK. Still RAGNAROK looking very strong with mass Hydras now, with Roaches. Let's see, even sniping one Banshee, I believe it was. Queen's a little bit exposed now, so RAGNAROK sadly not paying attention. 3 Queens have been sniped, and we even have Vipers now with Abduct taking down those Cyclones. So RAGNAROK really wants to turn the page here, as he is going to be able to snap so many units if he's just going to be able to abduct them. And here once again one Cyclone, the third Cyclone here, mass abducts, mass planning clouds here against CLEM, and all of a sudden things actually look really well for the South Korean player, for RAGNAROK. This is able to take out so many of those units. So the counter towards mass mech looks like it's going to be mass Vipers, so at least 3 to 6 Vipers. Yeah, there they are, just sucking that energy from this hive. And yeah, 2 Vipers only, but I believe there were 3, and he might even go for many more Vipers. And yeah, it looks like a very good response, just to abduct those units into those Roaches, into those Hydras. So yeah, army-wise, pros players pretty much at the same count, worker-wise as well. But yeah, the Terran has so many expansions here, planetary fortresses, and yet again, once again expanding, and RAGNAROK actually lacking a little bit behind. So CLEM does a pretty well job here against the economy from RAGNAROK. Now finally CLEM decides to stay back. What is his answer going to be? I believe I see a ghost here. Yes indeed, so one ghost, or many more ghosts, and some Roaches being perhaps sacrificed here by RAGNAROK. At the same time, a strong attack here into this location. We do have some ghosts, no tanks yet. Oh, actually I do see some tanks, 4 of them. And yeah, once again some Banshees into this location, but yeah, they should be snapped here if there is some anti-air. Actually using a parasitic bomb against this one. So a quite interesting game. We see some Roaches once again being sent out. Really interesting move here by RAGNAROK, as he might get sniped, he might take splash damage out of those tanks. And in the end he has to retreat, so he's trying of course to deal damage against CLEM, but CLEM nicely defending his expansions with some supply depots. And yeah, those Cyclones looking really strong here, just sniping unit after unit. RAGNAROK tries to perhaps surround those units. This army formation here is a little bit exposed if RAGNAROK comes in from the back, and that's exactly what he's doing. So it looks like CLEM now pretty much surrounded. He's going to take so many casualties. At the same time, we see an attack here in the lower part of the map. So perhaps this was just a move to take out the main army group from RAGNAROK and just attack here this expansion, and successfully sniping here this expansion, even taking out 7 drones. In the end, of course, he did lose his main group of forces there. Only one Hellion is being left alive, and this one Hellion actually being able to snipe some units, some drones. Finally a Queen comes out. But yeah, we see another good attack here. The Vipers are however in the air. Nice EMPs now against those Vipers, and no more energy onto those Vipers, so very smart move here by CLEM. And yeah, nice blinding clouds by the Vipers from RAGNAROK. So still a balanced game, still anyone's game here. We see ghosts on the map, so the counter towards those Vipers are of course the ghosts who are sniping here unit after unit. So still anyone's game, of course. Unit after unit is getting lost here for both players, and this expansion might be a little bit exposed. And we have yet another answer here for CLEM, actually Taurs. So Taurs, of course, a very tanky unit. Taurs, Ghost, Cyclone, some tanks. Let's have a look if there's going to be ultra risk here for Ragnarok if this is going to be his answer against so much mech of the Terran player of CLEM. Yeah, interesting for CLEM here, he did not lose any expansion and he was able to snipe so many expansions here against Ragnarok. And yeah, now we have perhaps a small attack here. We have so many banings all of a sudden for Ragnarok. Vipers are in the air, they did suck some mana here. So let's have a look. Is he going to attack a nice planetary fortress guarded here by a command center and a huge army by Ragnarok? Zerglings in the front, banings with a good flank here perhaps for CLEM. Income the banings, moving straight forward, getting some connection against those tanks, but in the end so much mech in the back, so CLEM actually holds his ground and is able to push back Ragnarok. So sadly here for Ragnarok, he really lost a huge amount of those banings, and once again does a nice job sniping baning after baning, just moving here forward. Those cyclones were a really strong decision here by him, and the ghost as well. So cyclones and ghosts just sniping everything they can, unit after unit. Really smart move here, and the mech army here from CLEM is moving forward towards the next target. So Pywise all of a sudden is in the front as he's just being able to snipe unit after unit. Nice blinding cloud, perfect blinding clouds here for Ragnarok, and the bangs not really getting any connections yet. So Ragnarok just moving them left and right, but in the end the mech army holds his ground, and yeah, lots of damage, but yeah, in the end CLEM just holds his ground and he's able to defeat Ragnarok. Really smart gameplay here by him, showing us that mech actually works against Zerg, and Ragnarok nicely reacting with those Vipers, but yeah, in the end CLEM proving to be a little bit too strong. So yeah, game 1 goes to CLEM. Let's just jump straight into game number 2. And we're back with game number 2. Quite an interesting strategy in game number 1 by CLEM. Mass mech indeed, it worked out really well. Those cyclones and also those benches in the air. Later on the tanks and the Thors looking like to be a proving victory here for him. So nice job for the French player versus his South Korean opponent. So once again we have here in the upper right, in the blue, it is Ragnarok from South Korea and his opponent CLEM, who leads the series 1-0. Please ignore this score, I don't know how to fix that, but yeah, it's 1-0 for the French player. And yeah, in the lower left in the red, it is CLEM from France. As the spawn key on Royal Blood, an interesting name for a map. Games once again have been played to 2023 February, as CLEM looks like he's opening up pretty standardly, just like in game number 1. Same can be said here for Ragnarok. So Ragnarok really has to win this game, if not he's going to lose this best of 3 series. So let's have a look what exactly his plans are. The overlords already, of course, scouting the map just like in game number 1 for any proxy barracks. We see gas is already up here for the French player. Same can be said for Ragnarok. Really soon gas into spawning pool, just like in game number 1. So the build orders haven't really changed. Actually, they didn't change at all. Let's see if CLEM this time is going to once again go for that mech. Is it going to work out for him? Is he going to try anything different? Is he going for those bio? Like many Terrans, we like to go for that biomass, Marines mass, Marauders into those medivacs. But yeah, let's see what exactly is going to happen. Once again, the SCV is moving out here on the map just to check the expansion timer here for the Zerg player. And yeah, there's the command center here for CLEM. So pretty much the same build order. We're about to find out if he's going once again or a factory, mass factories, or yet another command center, yet another expansion, just to prepare his late game versus his opponent. The first Reaper should also be out. So yeah, we pretty much have the same build order just like in game number 1. Is Ragnarok perhaps going to try anything different? He really has to. Perhaps he wasn't really successful in game number 1 just to harass the economy from CLEM, just 10 workers being killed. At the same time CLEM forced him to stay home. Now he is out with his Reaper trying to snipe one Zergling or two, but yeah, Ragnarok really strong with his micro here versus his opponent. So good hold, the queen is out, one egg is being laid, and yeah, let's have a look. There's the expansion at around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, so really standard stuff here by Ragnarok as well. Let's have a look at the build order from CLEM. Once again, factory into another expansion, so no starport for him. changes now position for the factory end for the barracks, so we might see Hellions once again. This looks like to be the standard build order for CLEM versus the Zerg. I don't know how he plays versus the Protoss, but in this scenario he actually goes mass Hellions first, and then perhaps some Banshees. We're about to find out. Is he going once again Banshees? His Reaper is out of the map, perhaps checking for any Roach Warrant. No Roach Warrant yet here for Ragnarok, so Ragnarok might try some Zergling Baning Rush. It would be very interesting to see. Perhaps he's going for a Mutalisk Rush. We're about to find out. He really has to change something. He really has to punish the CLEM really soon. We want to see a move out by the starport. Is he going Banshees once again? We're about to find out. Yes, indeed, Banshees. So this is a save up here for CLEM. He really wants to be safe versus those roaches on the ground, and we've seen that one Banshee can of course hold the attack for a Zerg who goes out with around 8 roaches, but this time we don't see a Roach Warrant here for Ragnarok. It's going into mass Zerglings actually. Is there a Baning's Nest? We're about to see. We actually see some glow going on here for CLEM. More and more Reapers are being spawned. In comes the Overlord, so of course Ragnarok really wants to see what exactly is into the main from base, but pretty much the same build order as we see the expansion now being moved out. He sees the Banshee, so he pretty much knows now what exactly is coming towards his way. Only Zerglings for him, yeah, and only droning up, so pretty strongly droning up, so we might see Ragnarok go into mass Zerglings really soon. I don't see a Roach Warrant yet. Actually I see an upgrade for that hatchery, so quite interesting what exactly the plans from Ragnarok are here for versus CLEM. Of course he knows that CLEM has this one Banshee in the air, so roaches are not going to be successfully. Hellions also are being fended off, so this time Ragnarok really paying attention. However, only one queen here, so CLEM is moving forward with his Hellions, sniping 2 workers. Nicely done by him, at the same time buying of course time for his expansion. Is he once again multitasking? I believe so. Actually we have a Baning's Nest now here for Ragnarok, so Baning's Nest it is going to be double evolution chamber just to block the entrance against those Hellions. And yeah, the Banshee in the air just sniping, actually not sniping anything, 0 kills for this. And yeah, let's have a look how things will unfold. The queens might get lucky to snipe 1 Hellion, but yeah, this game Ragnarok actually doing a very good job defending. However, now 2 Banshees are in the air, and yeah, Ragnarok lost another drone. Slowly but steadily we're moving here towards the 10-minute mark. So yeah, CLEM with 3 bases, the Zerg also with 3 bases. Worker wise we have actually more workers of course for the Zerg. And this expansion is quite exposed here, so a group of Zergling could really deal lots and lots of damage towards this base. And we actually see a surrounding attempt here for Ragnarok versus so many Hellions. Of course many Zerglings will fall, but in the end was it worth it here? Ragnarok losing quite so many Zerglings, but this time the floodgates are pretty much open, so this base is so much exposed. In comes Ragnarok. Let's see where he's going to attack. There is a tank, there are some Marines here. He should be able, CLEM should be able to hold of course, but Ragnarok decided not to attack here. At the same time those Banshees forcing a cancellation here of this one base. Let's have a look how many kills. They don't really have any kills, 1 kill onto this one, but yeah, the expansion point has been cancelled. And now let's have a look how Ragnarok is going to react. But CLEM is also nearby with his units, with his Marines, with his tanks, so sadly for Ragnarok he's not really once again being able to deal any economic damage towards his opponent. This is being forced back, and now he's going into Banelings, so Banelings could be a answer, a very strong answer against those expansions here, so they could roll of course into so many SCVs into this location, but he has to be very careful with them, as now CLEM is moving forward. So CLEM at the same time is now moving forward, he's nicely kiting back and forth, he's forcing Ragnarok to stay at home. So many Banelings here for Ragnarok, but quite a long way until the expansion, and now Ragnarok having the high ground, but once again has to abandon this expansion. Banelings getting some good connections here, so nice job by Ragnarok chasing those Marines away, and the Queens should be able to take care of this, or are they? The Medivacs in the air, Ragnarok taking some damage, but a nice move from behind. It's really important as a Zerg to surround your enemy, to come from different sides, from the front and from the back. We've seen SERRAL do this many times here on this channel, so Ragnarok now also does the same job. He tries, of course, to create as much creep as possible, just to give more mobility towards those banelings. And yeah, CLEM knows this, of course. He's immediately walling off here with some supply depots. At the same time, he's sending out some forces out just to keep Ragnarok at home. Marines with one tank, and these rocks almost getting destroyed here. And yeah, pretty soon we are going to be able to see the 10-minute mark. Ragnarok on the defense. CLEM tries to be as much as he can aggressive, as Ragnarok sends out, of course, a small group of Zerglings just to check the waters here, just to try to inflict economic damage against the opponent. You also see some gold here onto this map. So look what the next steps are going to be. You actually also see a vase here, just like from the Roman Empire. And yeah, let's see CLEM once again attacking here with his marines, with his tanks in the back. Only one tank, however, dealing good splash damage versus his opponent. Some Zerglings are being mismicroed, but this time the Baneling's getting some good connections and does a nice job kiting back and forth, kiting small groups of splitted marines just to lure, of course, those Zerglings into this one tank. But at the same time, here's the response from Ragnarok. He feels confident to move forward over one tank in the back. He's here able to secure the zone. And yeah, Ragnarok retreating. He might take out some marines here. He's pretty much surrounded, taking so much damage as he has to retreat. Is he perhaps going to try an attack on a different location, perhaps here into this location? We're about to find out, as we do see some Hydras now joining the army. And are we going to be perhaps seeing some lurkers? CLEM is very, very nearby, but the tanks are pretty much surrounded. Nice save with those medivacs. We see some Widow Mines now. Widow Mines pretty strong also with their splash damage, but there is an Overseer. So yeah, Ragnarok once again on the defense is going to be able to take out those marines. CLEM saves some of them, but yeah, in the end, Hydras it is, as CLEM is also now moving slowly but steadily forward with his Widow Mines, with his tanks. And this expansion could be a valuable attacking point for Ragnarok really, really soon. He has those units here into this location, but at the same time he has to defend at home versus this attack. A nice scan to take out the Queen Axe into this location, and Ragnarok once again might try to surround the units from CLEM. He's taking out the tank. Moving forward, the Hydras will of course target the medivacs as much as they can. And yeah, let's see, a much better game actually here for Ragnarok. But yeah, CLEM also has so many expansions once again, and they're not really being punished by Ragnarok at the same time. CLEM once again moving forward with the Marines, but they have been taken out by those Banelings. So pretty nice job here by Ragnarok defending. And yeah, this time BIU it is for CLEM versus his opponent. Mass Marines with some Marauders, with some tanks, with some other units. But yeah, in comes Ragnarok once again taking out the tank. It's really important for him to take out the valuable units, valuable splash damage units for the Zerg. Yeah, we see so many Banelings getting morphed here. We have Overseers in the air, so he sees the mines, he sees the Banshees, and he's just moving straight forward. CLEM tries to, of course, surround somehow the units from Ragnarok, but it looks like Ragnarok really having so much supply here versus his opponent, as the Banelings are even getting some connections into the mineral line from CLEM. And yeah, those Marines here also taking so much damage, so Ragnarok seems to be all over the place here. 5 SCVs have been killed. Some supply depots will fall, and this expansion looks pretty much doomed here. And yes, indeed, a nice victory here for Ragnarok, showing us actually a patient gameplay here, as Zerglings into Banelings and into later some high. And we're back with game number 3, quite an interesting series we have here in between the two pro players. So let me just start once again by introducing them to you, as we have here in the upper left part in the blue, it is Ragnarok from South Korea. And his opponent here in the lower right, in the red, it is CLEM from France. So the series is currently tied 1-1. Please ignore this score once again. Let's just see if anything is going to change here into the last game of this series. Whoever wins this is, I believe, having an advantage in the group stage. I believe this has been from the group stage. And we see CLEM actually going for a different build order here. I don't see his barracks. I also don't see any SCVs moving out. So he's actually going gas first and then barracks. Quite interesting decision, or perhaps this is his main build order for the Terran. We actually see Ragnarok going for the pretty much same build order, just like he did in the previous games. Of course, he's once again going to be checking the proximity for any proxy barracks, but yeah, no such thing out of CLEM. So the pretty standard stuff here for both players. Let's have a look if anything is going to be changing. Let's see if CLEM is once again going to be going for that bio, or is he going to opt once again for that mech. Mech worked out really well. Ragnarok tried to counter it with those Vipers, but yeah, in the end CLEM was proving to be much stronger towards in the end. The tanks also held their ground, so pretty nice stuff. Of course, see the extractor, we see the spawning pool, so nothing has changed into the build order here for Ragnarok. Very soon we are also going to be seeing, like in the previous game, around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, the expansion. So pretty much the same build order here for both players. And CLEM, of course, is just checking if there is an expansion or not. At the same time, he's also expanding. First Reaper should also be out, so we pretty much have the same stuff. And once again, a factory here, but we're going to be seeing a starport or once again a expansion. That is the question here for CLEM. He sees the expansion. Is he going to prepare his macro game with another expansion into this location, or is he going for a starport? Let's have a look what his options are. And what is he going for? The Reaper is out. He's going to be, of course, once again annoying. The Queen should counter the Reaper really soon. Actually, the Queen is almost ready to go out for Zerglings once again. So pretty much the same gameplay here for both players. And yeah, as soon as the Reaper, as soon as the Queen comes out, this annoyance will of course end. Luckily here, he has been able to snipe one, I believe even two Zerglings here, no, just one Zergling. So yeah, nice job here by CLEM taking out one Zergling, having his expansion almost up, and I still don't see a starport. No, actually there it is. So this time CLEM changes something into his build order. He's not going for another expansion, he's actually going straight for another starport. So this means he's actually going to be try to be a little bit more aggressive into his gameplay. He's very likely going to try to do some drops with some Medivacs. Hellions once again are being produced. So yeah, CLEM looking like he's very early going to be trying to punish the economy from the Zerg really soon. The first Hellions are already out. Still, I don't see, of course, a Roach Core, and I don't see a Baning's Nest yet here for the Zerg, as the Hellions are actually moving here forward. So nice job here by CLEM. He could be able to target so many drones here. Really hard to out-micro those Hellions. The Reaper has fallen, but two drones have fallen here as well. Luckily here for CLEM, this one Hellion is still alive when it's getting taken out, but 3 drones have been sniped, even 4 now. So CLEM does, of course, a nice job. At the same time, 2 more Hellions are moving here forward. So CLEM looking really strong. Ragnarok knows, of course, that more and more Hellions will join the attack, as the Queens will be able to fend this off. So in the end, 5 drones for 3 Hellions. A pretty fair trade. The Hellion might try to take out many more units. We see once again Cloak, we see once again Banshees, so CLEM staying loyal to his build order, and no second expansion yet for him, so he's pretty much going very aggressive here versus Ragnarok. Tries, of course, to kill as many drones as possible, as many Zerglings as possible. And yeah, Ragnarok has, of course, to split his troops as well. The Queens will be the main defense here for the Zerg player. And Queen here into this location, just giving vision. We have Stim being done, almost getting done here. We have Cloak, so CLEM is going to very likely going to try once again to multitask with his Hellions, with his Banshees in the air. He really wants to take, of course, out as many drones as possible, but let's just see if he's going to be successful here. Yes, 5 Hellions into this location at the same time. The Banshee is moving here forward. There is a Spore. Let's see, Queens are ready to respawn. Queens really tanky against those Hellions. Yeah, and in come the Banshee. Not actually one kill here for him. Second kill. Yes, indeed, nicely done here for CLEM. So of course, every kill, especially as drones, really counts a lot into a raw game. And let's just see. We have actually a layer here for Ragnarok. Nice hidden layer, just in case the scan goes out here. There is that layer into the expansion point, but now CLEM actually getting surrounded by those Zerglings with speed. And yeah, nice job here by Ragnarok, killing some of those Hellions. So only 2 Hellions remain, 2 Banshees into this location. He's very likely once again going to attack the expansion point. So we slowly but steadily have passed the 5-minute mark. Let's see, CLEM's main, still no expansion, so just some barracks are being produced. So yeah, let's see. Of course they can double shot, they can one shot one drone, so the Banshees are doing a pretty big nice job. The Queens are getting forced to stay back home, and perhaps here into this location there could be an expansion. Yes indeed, there is that expansion for CLEM. And yeah, let's see if those Banshees will of course just roam around. Only two Helens staying to this location just to check the timer for the next expansion. Zergs are getting a pretty good surround here, but they might also take some damage. And yeah, there's the expansion. Ragnarok shows this, of course. He knows that every second counts a lot into a pro game. So we have yet another expansion here for the Zerg. Still staying onto that spawning pool. We have the Baneling's Nest. No Roach Warrant yet here for him. No Spire. So it looks like once again mass Zerglings with Banelings for him. So let's have a look. CLEM actually decides to move out with his bio, with his units. The Banshees are still alive. They have taken some damage, even taking more and more damage. The Spore actually takes out one Banshees, but I believe CLEM is just going to lure the units back from Ragnarok, and his main target is of course to cancel this expansion. So nice job by him. Even 6 drones have been killed. The Banshees are very likely going to get sacrificed here, so yeah, sadly he's going to lose. And we actually see a Spire here for Ragnarok. So CLEM sees the Spire, he knows that Mutalisk are on their way, so he might try to counter them with some Cyclones, or actually it's just mass bio for him, mass Marines with some combat shields with Stim, of course. Yeah, in come the first Mutalisk for Ragnarok. There's a tank on the ground, not that many turrets, actually only one turret here. Still lots and lots of Marines getting healed here, but in the end so many Mutalisk for Ragnarok. So Ragnarok might just try to ignore these units here, and he might try to fly over this location, as the Mutalisk are of course really fast. But at the same time he needs to be careful against the counter here from CLEM. So this is why he's just staying into this location, just trying to snipe as many units as possible. Yeah, really does a nice job. He might even try to take out this tank. But yeah, CLEM pretty much ignores this. She's just moving forward with 2 tanks, with Marines. Of course Ragnarok tries to stay here, just try to force CLEM to stay back. But yeah, CLEM nicely ignoring it, or is he just moving here forward, stimming? 6 SCPs have fallen, so Ragnarok does a nice job. Some Marines will also be sacrificed here. They have of course to defend CLEM. In the end I believe he decides to come back home, as I see it on the minimap. But yeah, Ragnarok actually also taking some casualties. Not that many Mutalisk are being left alive. They're really fast, and look at that, Marine after Marine is getting sniped. Even the tank might get taken out, so Ragnarok showing us of course the speed of those Mutalisk, really doing a nice job against CLEM. At the same time he's also nicely expanding towards the upper right part, so CLEM reacting with massive amounts of barracks. So we will very likely see mass Marines, mass bio for him, as the Marines are already moving forward, just splitting here. Just try to avoid those Zerglings surround, the Banelings surround, and there are many more Marines. The tanks are a little bit late with their sieging up. The Banelings are getting some pretty good connections, but there are so many Marines on the ground here for CLEM, as he's moving more and more forward towards this upper right base. More and more Mutalisk are getting spawned. Perhaps Ragnarok should transition into more Banelings and Zerglings to counter this, as yeah, Stimmed Marines are pretty strong versus the Mutalisk. Not that much here to defend for Ragnarok. The tanks are attacking. Luckily this tank with only 14 HP, already 20 kills for him. Mutalisk try to deal some damage here, but yeah, I believe CLEM has pretty much enough, and he's luckily taking out this expansion. At the same time more and more bio is getting spawned here. Ragnarok tries of course to find some connections to kill some Marines. Does a pretty good job, but yeah, so much more supply here for the French player. Ragnarok might try to counter this, he might try to surround the units from CLEM. Takes quite some time for those Mutalisks to kill all of those Marines, as we now have passed the 10-minute mark, so the upper expansion has been killed. CLEM looks like he's going for many more expansions here. As Ragnarok tries to finally counter this with the Zerglings, he's very likely going straight for this one turret. Now going for a surround against the Marines. CLEM can't now return home. He has to fight with his SCVs. He has to actually retreat those SCVs. At the same time he's moving here forward, snapping the overlords, snapping this expansion. So both players pretty much trading blows here. It has turned into a scenario of a base trade scenario here, but so many tanks on the ground, so CLEM looking really strong. The Mutalisk force a retreat here of this command center, and yeah, let's have a look. More and more units are getting spawned here. Nice repair some Marines are here, but at the same time CLEM is moving forward slowly but steadily, and this one tank is still alive with 23 kills. If Ragnarok tries to find a good position here, tries to find a good surround and attack from multiple sides, the same can be said here for CLEM, moving forward towards the layer, so Ragnarok really has to hurry up with his units, with his surround. A nice split here by the Terran unit. CLEM does a really nice job. The tanks are also securing this zone for him, and yeah, Ragnarok still has to make up his mind. Is he going to engage? Is he going to defend? His layer has fallen. So many drones have fallen here as well. 5 reinforcements are moving forward for CLEM. So Ragnarok struggling really a lot against this mass bio tactic by CLEM here, and a great split. Finally, he perhaps tried to mass more and more Zerglings, more and more Banelings. He's still roaming around, but it looks like CLEM has enough at home to fend this off, and at the same time he's moving now towards the next location, towards the next expansions here, and yeah, the tanks are still getting good connections here. Finally the one tank is getting taken out, and in comes Ragnarok with his Mutalisk, with his Bangs, with his Zerglings, but in the end I believe CLEM looks like he's having way too much here supply versus his opponent. Yes indeed, even the Bangs have been sniped, so CLEM takes this series 2-1. Quite an interesting series in the end. Mass bio proving to be so much stronger here for CLEM versus his opponent. A very interesting tactic in game number 1 with that mass mech. I really like that. Finally a strong game here for the French player. Ragnar also played really well, but in the end I believe he just waited too much. Sadly his Mutalisk didn't deal so much damage versus his opponent, and yeah, CLEM taking the series 2-1, so congratulations for him. We'll be seeing you of course in the next replays. This is Tommy signing out.